Hello, welcome to another tutorial in our tutorial series building a hotel website with Alora web editor. So let's get to building our elements because we have that settled. And to build our elements, we need to save some of our already built actions so that we can see how easy it's going to be for us as we build those elements with our website. So let's get started. So first we are going to save this text over here, the actions for this text, and the things that we are looking at is we are looking at font family, font size, line height. Let's look at line height. The line height should be 96. Let's make sure we correct all these things. It's very important. Now let's go into our next section, that is creating the elements for our website, and that is what we are going to do here. So now let's get started creating the elements for our website. But look at the website. Let's look at the first element I would love to create. And this is the first element that I would want to create. And this involves a text, involves three texts, two texts, and a button. So it's very simple. That's something we can build. It's all added into a block. So let's go ahead and add a new block to our website. Now we want to increase the padding to the top so that it comes down. This time we are not going to drag around because we are going to save this as a section style, and whatever we save, all the settings that will be on this particular block is going to be saved as a section style. As such, we would want to be careful because we are going to be using it later. Now we are going to make sure the background is white, and we are going to make sure that the height, the display is stable so that it takes on the height of the elements inside it. Now let's click on it, and then we are going to add three texts and a button, right? So let's go ahead. So we're just going to add one text, another text, and we have a button to add. So we are done with this particular one. Now let's style it and make it more like the kind of element that we need for our website. So before we do any of that, we need to save the actions for these ones so that we can move ahead and deal with it. Okay, so let's click on this one. Let's go to our saving our actions, and then we are going to look for what color. We are going to look for font family. We are going to look for font size, font family, font size. And then we are going to look for line height. We are going to look at letter spacing. We don't need to save letter spacing here. We are just going to look at line height. And let's see if we have everything. So for the font, we are looking at the size, we are looking at the font family, we are looking at the color, we are looking at the line height, and that's the most important thing for us for the font. So let's save this as an action. So we are going to name it hotel / H1. That's heading 1. Okay, and we are going to select this font, and then we are going to select the things we need for it. Basically, it's the same thing that we are going to need throughout. So we are going to save it, and we are going to save it hotel / H2. Right, now let's go to this one. Okay, now we are going to save the same things that we need for this. Now let's make sure that all the things that we need have already been selected so that we've not left anything out. Right, now we can select stuff like text note as well as a note to be applied, but we are not going to do that. We are going to do that separately so that you can learn about the different text sizes that you use and where to use them. Now let's go ahead and then finish this. We are going to save this one again, so H1, H2, and then we are going to do an H3 here. And then we are done. Right, now let's save our buttons. Because these are buttons, we can make them we can actually make them actions, right? We can actually make them actions. It's not a big deal. We can make it actions, but I would want to save them as a section style, right? I would want to save them as a section style, and that is going to be a problem because it's going to take everything with it. But if we don't want to save it as a section style, we can save a few other things with it, right? So apart from line height, apart from font size, apart from font family and color, we can add the paddings to it. We can add paddings to the top, to the left, to the bottom, to it. So we are looking for the padding. So there we have it. So padding to the top, padding to the right, padding to the bottom, padding to the left. And we can add border to it because we need a border to the bottom of this one, right? You can see it's a lot of work trying to find these things, and we can save that so that it doesn't affect the button that we have. Then we'll have to save the action for all these ones. We can apply, not only can we apply this to buttons, but we can apply them to blocks and everything. So I'm just going to save one of it. So I'm just going to save hotel, and I'm saying button style, okay, and I'm just going to submit. But what I really want to do here is to save this as a section style so that it comes with everything that the button has, the animations and everything that we've done for it. So I'm just going to save, right, as a section style, right? And so I'm just going to click this and I'm going to name it hotel /button 3, right? Okay. And we select this and I'm going to save it again at hotel. Let's say now for this I would have to do a few things, else anytime I apply this I would have to do it again, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to take this out of the way. Make sure everything is well and it's floating to the left for now. We can change the float later. And the section here, if we want, what we can do is increase the padding to the top so that everything comes down, so that we don't have to do that with this one. And let's drag this down. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. We're going to say hotel /button 2. Let me save this one as well. Hotel /button 1. So right now what we have here is very simple. We've actually created these buttons, texts and colors that we can use to create some elements that we can easily save them and pull them into our designs. After reloading my website, I have to go back and then go to my style guide because that's what we are working on. We have not even started building a website yet, and so far you can see that this is what's going on, and this thing has bothered me for a while now. I feel the font, the padding to the top needs to be increased, so I'm just going to do that and save it again. It doesn't really matter, we can just still save it again, and I think that's for the best. So padding to the top, let's make it that way. That works for us. Padding to the top, let's make it that way. And whilst we are at it, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and delete this. Okay, so padding to the top, let's delete this. Let's delete that one. So we've increased the padding to the top. Let's just refresh this and have all the buttons to this side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to save this all over again. I'm just going to go to hotel button 1. It's just going to replace the previous button. No big deal. So I'm just going to save this one, hotel button 2, right? And then hotel, we're going to save this one again, hotel / button 3. All right, perfect. We are done with this. There's no need to worry about it. If we had several colored buttons, we would have done all our button styles here so that we don't waste our time. So we are back with our designs. We are still building our style page, and it's not actually looking like it should, but it could look that way. We could make things interesting if we wanted to look good for us. So padding to the left, I can just make 100 so that I can push everything to the middle if I want to. Yes, and have everything aligned perfectly. Now let's go ahead and then apply our action to this, because we have actions, right? H2. As you can see, we have our action. Let's add our bodies, not our sub body, our body text. So now we have all this stuff here, so we just put button 2 because that's what we are looking for, right? So let's click on it to apply. As you can see, we have our button applied to us, and let's go to our design. Let's take a look at our design. The element that we are trying to create from our design is this. It's the button 2 that we are creating. So this is the element from our design that we are trying to create, and that's a simple thing. Let's get going. We are almost done, so let's just type something in here. Kings. Okay, Kings room. Right, and what we need to know is that our text is to the left, so we have to take our text alignment to the left, and then so let's copy some dummy text from here, and then we are going to go to our website here, and then we are going to paste them directly in there. And okay, so we will still need to change the text alignment to left here, and then deal with it. Okay, so we have an element from our website, but it's not quite right. We need to make this margin to the left 20. Margin to the left has to be 20 now. The margin to the top, we reduce it to 20 also. Let's look at how far it is from it. But then let's make it 10 and let's see how it works out for us. So let's see. So far so good. We have an element that we can use, right? This element is quite interesting. Let's go to our website and take a look at what we have now. We go onto the website. We have the King's room, we have the text, and we have this one. Let's go down. It's the same thing that we have here, so we don't have to create it again. Now we would have to create this element. Now I'm bent on creating these elements because, as a matter of fact, it will make our website building very, very easy when we start building the website. This is actually building the website, right? So we create this element, and then we create this element, and then we can go ahead and start building our website. So bear with me, we are going to finish this part soon. I know that you want to jump into building the website, but we are going to finish building this website very soon, with this part of the website very soon, and so just bear with me for now. What we can do after creating this is actually make it responsive before we actually send it to our design. Now I'm going to increase the padding to the bottom a bit, right, and then that would be it. Now the next thing I want to do, as I said, is to make this element responsive or somehow responsive, so that when I transfer it to the main design, in the case that I'm doing responsiveness, it's not going to stress me out to actually do responsiveness for this particular block. So what I can actually do here is go to the various views. So let's go to the large views. This is how it's going to be 30%, right? And in this view, I think this is still okay. This is fine. We can still have it this way, right? This is okay. And let's go to our big laptops. Then it becomes a bit smaller, but it still works for the design that we want to create. This still works. Then when we go down to the tablet, it still works at 30%, right? It's just the font size of this thing that is going to change at some point. So let's just go down to tablet portrait. Now at this point, we don't really need it to be 30%. So what I'm envisioning here is the design, what we have there. Let's go ahead and look at what we have in our design. Just image, we have just images here. So basically it's still gonna fit here fine. But when we go to the next portrait view, you can see that the image here would be too much. So then the width of this thing would have to be we need to add width to it, and we are going to make the width 80%. Right. And I'm going to add margin to the left of 10%. So it's going to be in the middle. No matter where it is, it's going to remain in the middle of the website, or it's going to remain in the middle of the design. So we are just going to leave it here. We are not going to go extra to do any other thing, right? We are just going to leave it here, and then when we are doing responsiveness, we can finish it up. So let's go back to our extra large view, and then in this case we are going to duplicate it to create another element. So we are going to duplicate this. So it duplicated twice. It doesn't really matter since we are just going to clear it, and we are going to clear this and put it to the next line. Okay, so let's click on this and then drag it down, so we can just make this display table so that we don't have to be dragging it down all the time, and then we are done. This one we are also going to clear. Okay, so let's go to our design and see other elements that we have to create. After creating this general element, we have to create this element and this particular one. Once we are done with these two, we can go ahead and then finish this one. This element is quite simple. By adding an image to this, we can just finish this and then putting everything into the middle. So first, we need to add a different font to this one. Let's click this, let's go into our actions, and then we are going to select our H4, right? And it's basically what we need to add to it. Now, this time, this is in the middle, so we would have to try to center everything now. So we are going to center it. We are going to text align, we are going to center this, right? Then what we are going to do now is we are going to take the float from there, and then we are going to add text align to the section, the block itself. There are other ways to do this, as I always say, but I want to use this part. It's easier to do with this. And then we can reduce. What we are also going to take off is the margin to the left. Now this text, we are going to make the width 100%. Right. And then we are going to put it in the center. Now looking at our design, the only thing we need to add is our border, and then we are going to have to add our image in there. So let's refresh this design and see how it works. As you can see, we have this in here, but for now what we are going to do is we are going to add padding to the top and padding to the bottom, right? So we are going to add padding to the top, no, margin to the top rather, margin to the top, and then margin to the bottom. So we are going to make all this 30 or 30%, 30 pixels, and the top as well, we are going to give it a 30 pixels here. Now the next thing that we need to do is add the borders to this. So we are going to add border to the bottom, border to the top, a border to the right, and a border to the left. And we are going to change the color so that we can have a faint color for the border. So first, before that, we are just going to reduce it. So I think this color would do. This is fine. So we select this, right? Then, as we already know with the border, because there are a lot of settings here, you actually set the last one first. You set the color first, so that when you change the size, it picks the color with it. So let's just go ahead and we are pasting everything here, and then we are adding this, and then we can go ahead and then finish this whole design. You know, we are building from scratch. If we were not building from scratch, we probably would have finished this website a long time ago. So now that we have this done, we can save, and then we can add our image, and then we can go ahead and then finish this website. Go ahead and then start building our website, because we have some elements that we can deal with. I would leave the last element for designing itself, where I'm going to show you how to build that particular element, the blog element, and then we are going to have, because that blog element is just a simple, it's almost like this element, so there's no need to build it again. I'm just going to upload it to the top. So now once we have this, what we need to do is move this to the top, and to do that we can use this arrow, move it to the top, and then move it to the top again, so it's at the topmost part of the design. So let's fix layout errors, just in case we have some layout errors. Okay, so we don't have any errors, so we don't have a problem. Now we are going to save this. We are going to change the width of this image. We can set it to a size, which we are going to do. We are going to make it, let's say 10%. Okay, let's make it 10% of the whole width, and it's too small, so we are just going to make it 20%. So at 21%, a margin left would be 40%, and the width is 20%, and so that it can be in the middle of our design. Now this is very interesting because we are almost done with the design. So now that we have this settled, we should upload our images. Probably you would want to do that as the first thing when you are done with your design. Now we are not going here, we are going into our hotel and our images, and then we are selecting all the images that we are going to use, and then we are uploading all that. Okay, so let's see how many images we are having. So we can click on any of this and then load this image for the meantime. Let's see how it's going to work. So at the end of the day, this is what we have here. as you can see here, what I did was I deleted the image from the first one and I deleted the first text. I wanted to create another element which I'm going to use later on other pages of the website, which I think would come in handy, right? And what I also did was I created what we were working on, and this is where we were. As soon as we deleted the float, because we deleted the float and we created the image and made it the width 20% and put the margin to the left as 40%, putting it in the middle, what happened is that the button moved to the top, and this is very simple to handle. You're going to face this. So what I'm going to do is select the button, right? I'm going to select the button. Once the button is selected, I'm going to look for display. If display is not there, I'm just going to do display. And we are going to try different kind of display. This is inline block. When we make a block, this is what we get. So because of the way our design is, as you can see, I put display table there, but it actually should be display. If it's display inline block, right, what is going to happen to it is that it's going to be in line with the shortest possible one, right? So we can do a display with a clear booth, display of block, and when we have it displaying as a block, because it's a button, it's going to fill the width of the element, because we've not actually defined the width for this. We could define a width for this. Let's try and see what we can do with the width. Because of the way our design is built, we've made the display block, and as you can see, we made the width 50% of the width of the design. We can actually make it 40% of the width of the design, right? And we are going to make a margin to the left. That's one way to position it, because we are making it a block element now. Normally you wouldn't want to make a button a block element, but because of our peculiar position where this element here, it's the width of this element is allowing space for this to be in line with it. We are making a block, and then we are just going to, that's one easy way to do it. There are other ways to do this, to always keep things in the center of an element. There are other ways to do this. So now we just have our thing in the middle. What we have to do is just make this text alignment. We have to make the text align to the center, and then let's look at margin to the top for this. So what we can do is we can add margin to the bottom of the text to actually give it, let's say 10 pixels, and that should work for us. So this should be enough to make our website look okay, and this should keep our element in the middle. But it's just that we have given ourselves an extra issue, because at the time where the box reduces in width, let me show you what I mean. If we go in here, this works perfectly, this is okay, but let's go to something like this. It still also works, but then the issue is that the text is out of the zone because of the width of this block here. So what we would want to do here is to increase the size, the width of this one to 50%, and then leave it there for now. So now that we have all these things done, what we can do here is save this element as a section style. So I'm going to save this one first. I'm just going to save it as, I just locked it. Instead of locking, I want to save. I'm just going to call it hotel, and I'm going to name it block 1. Okay, saving. It's done. Now I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to save again. I'm going to name it hotel, and I'm going to say block 2. Okay. Then So here I have this block saved here, and I'm going to name this block as block 3. I'm going to save the last block and I'm going to name it as block 3. Okay, so I'm just going to say block 3, and then we are done. Okay, so this tutorial has been long and it's run on for quite a long time. So we are done with our website. We are done with preparing to build our website. So now we can just go ahead and start building our website. This style guide is going to be here for us so that we can make changes to this, save it as a session style later and add it. Now you can build all the elements here if you want, the various elements for your website here that can become like a session style pack for the person who you are going to leave this website to, and then they can use it to build other pages since they are going to need it for the website, especially if the person is a designer or probably a content editor, and you can use all these sections to create other pages for the client or for yourself. So thank you for watching this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we start building our hotel website.